All right, guys, this is Mr. H. I'm going to do question 16. This is going to be a little longer video because I'm going to show you there were only 26% of the students who took this exam last year got this question right. And the reason that so many students missed it is because they didn't know what to do with this function here, the g of x function that has k times the absolute value of x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the mistakes that they probably made, which prevented them from getting this right. And in doing so, I'm hoping that you guys will learn from their mistakes and you won't make the same ones on June 2024. So let's go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the second function and I'm going to graph it. So I'm going to go here to the graph screen and then I'm just going to type in K. And then I'm going to do the absolute value. Where is that? So it's right here next to the book. You go over to the absolute value, click on that, and then you're going to put an X inside, and then you press enter. What happened, mister? There's nothing there. Okay, now you can zoom out until you're blue in the face, but you're probably not going to find anything. The best way to do this is if you've entered the function or the relation and it's good, menu 51 will find it. So I'm going to go menu 51. It didn't find anything. That's what this vertical line is saying. Hey, I didn't find anything. Now, why? Okay, so I'm going to go back and show you why. So if we go back to F1, look, it actually took the ABS, which stands for absolute value, and it put it next to the K. So it thinks that you're trying to create a new variable called the KABS variable. And that's not what we want. This is supposed to be K times. So I'm going to put a multiplication symbol in there, right? And then I'm going to press enter. Now, the reason that it's asking for a slider is you have a variable other than X, the K, and you don't have a number stored in it. So it's saying, what do you want me to do with that variable? So let's go ahead and create a slider. All right, so now here's the regular. When K is equal to 1, this is what the graph looks like. Now, if we move it, let's click on it. So if you take this and move it, I'm trying to move it. So I made it 2. Notice it got thinner. 3, it gets even thinner. 4, it gets thinner. 5 gets thinner. Now, if I go back the other way, now I'm going to try to get to a half, but it's only going up by increments of 1. So we can't get to a half, but we can see that it changes. But now I'm going to show you how to change this. So I'm going to go to the settings. So I just clicked on this and I got the settings. And now I wanted to go up by not 1, I wanted to go up by 0.5 or a half, right? So now if you look, it can go up by a half, increments of 0.5, that's a half. So now I'm going to start it at 1, that's what it looks like. If I go to the left, that's a half. Notice it got wider. So you can use the slider to figure out what you need to do. But that means you really need to know the calculator in order to do that. I know the calculator, so I know I can use the slider. But a lot of you guys don't know how to use the slider, even though we practice with it. So, but look, now I've gone to a half, it's wider. If I go down here now, it becomes negative, so it flips. If I go here, 0, it's just going to be the x-axis. But if I go to a half, that's it. If I go to 1, it's narrower. If I go to 1.5, it's even narrower. If I go to 2, it's narrower. So basically, when I go to 0.5, it gets wider. Here is the original. Here is at 0.5. So we can answer that question. It's g of x makes it wider. Okay, now, so I'm going to stop and I'm going to post this. And then I'm going to do another video of the same question. And I'm going to show you the way that I would recommend that you guys do it, especially if you're not comfortable with the slider part. And a lot of you aren't, but you can use sliders. They're perfectly acceptable. They're a great way. For instance, let me show you something. We can animate this. So now it's going to do it by itself. So I'm not doing this. I'm just sitting to the side and you see it's going up by 0.5 because that's the increments. So it's telling you, if you just pay attention, you can see what it's doing. Now it's going to start over at a -5. And that's down, and each increment is getting wider, 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 and then it flips, and then it gets narrower because we're going positive now. But every time you add 0.5, it makes the graph wider. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. So that's another thing that you can do. But I am going to stop this. Well, I'm going to try to stop it. Well, I'm just going to end it, but stop the animation. All right, but yeah, you can definitely use the slider. I have a handout on sliders if you want one, but yeah, you can use the slider to see what happens to the graph when you change it to half or a negative or whatever. But now I'm going to do another video of the same question, but I'm going to show you the way that I would recommend that you do it if you're not comfortable with the slider.